Yo, this is Aipom from the future letting you know that there's going to be a spoiler warning in effect in this review. So if you're going to watch this review, there's spoilers, so good luck. Dragon Ball as a franchise has some of the most iconic characters in anime history. Chances are, even if you aren't a huge fan of Dragon Ball, you'd be able to tell where Goku, the others, or even Super Saiyans come from by just looking at the designs. Like most anime, Dragon Ball has some pretty neat characters sealed away in specials and movies, and today we're taking a look back at one of my personal favorites, or what used to be one of my personal favorites when I was a kid, Super Android 13. For today's video, I'm not going to be memeing you at all, and instead we're going to be taking a serious look back at the Dragon Ball movie that first aired in Japan way back in July of 1992. FUNimation dubbed over the movie 11 years later in 2003, and that'll be the version of the movie we're checking out in this review. So if you don't like the dub, because you're one of those weeaboos, this probably won't be the video for you. At a runtime of only 46 minutes though, I don't think that we'll be here for a long time. And tune in later this week if you're one of those Xenoverse 2 fans for an Android 13 tribute build in Xenoverse 2. Before we get started, if you want to chime in, let me know what your first Dragon Ball movie you saw was in the comment section below. A big thing to take away from the anime movies, especially in Dragon Ball's case, is that the movies aren't exactly canon and they don't affect the show after they go down. This isn't exactly important at the start of the movie, but it comes into play very heavily towards the ending. Timeline-wise, Super Android 13 takes place after Android 17 and 18 killed Dr. Gero, and Goku fully recovered from his heart virus, but before Cell reaches his perfect form, meaning technically it falls before when Goku brings the Saiyans to the time chamber to train. Kinda one of those weird things. Let's get on with it. As the movie starts up, we get a glimpse of Android 17 taking out Dr. Gero. There's a bit of foreshadowing on the reflection to show us that there are 3 more androids in the background being worked on, and as you can guess, they're going to be the main antagonists here. This type of setup is pretty nice if you like people to go back and watch the original anime and check backgrounds and whatnot to see if the 3 actually did exist. Of course, it's pretty unlikely that they existed. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's just something they kind of threw in like, hey, by the way, giggity giggity, we got some characters here. But it does give you a kind of nice frame of reference as to where the movie falls in the timeline. After we get a retro Dragon Ball Z opening without lyrics, we fast forward to what we can assume is present day, or what is present day in this universe, and the Z Fighters are pretty much enjoying a day off at the mall in West City. These scenes are pretty good to contrast how dark the movie kind of opens up, and it does give you that lighthearted comic relief sort of vibe. I actually never pictured these guys in a situation where they'd be hanging out at a mall or like shopping or anything. Like, it's a very interesting setup. Like, why? Picture some dude in an orange karate gi and like combat boots, wristbands, and he's brolic as hell, just walking. What? Boy, if you don't get, then you take a look over to the left and Master Roshi, Krillin, and Trunks and Oolong are just waiting on the line for some sort of like beauty pageant deal. And to be honest with you, it's weird to see Trunks get dragged along into the situation, but I can definitely see Roshi, Oolong, and even Krillin kind of perving it up. They even kind of joke around with Trunks about his age and being a good influence around him, which I found kind of funny. It's kind of like, okay, what the hell? And Trunks is just there derping it out. But the next scene when I saw it, I was like dumbfounded, like guys, what? We cut over to Goku, Chi-Chi, and Gohan, who are all shopping for Gohan's summer school classes and stress relief for Chi-Chi, if I'm not mistaken. And if you had any doubts about Goku being a bad father, this man is literally the worst influence ever. He has a line that I couldn't believe he said it when I first heard it, when I first heard it back after watching it after all these years. Like,
check it out. It looks like that mud wrestling I showed you on TV once, remember?
It was like so random. If you had doubts about him being a bad father, this kind of clears it up. You know, it was jarring. Like, I can't imagine Goku being in a situation where he's watching mud wrestling on TV and he's like, hey Gohan, hey Gohan, you might want to, wow, isn't that amazing? And this is kid Gohan we're talking about. So it's like, it's kind of off-putting. Then again though, if you look at it as like at it from a point where Goku is being looked at as a character, he probably legit saw it as like a martial art or something. So it's one of those throwaway jokes that you kind of hear and you can read as much into it as you want to. I just found it hella random, but that definitely slipped past me as a kid. So hey, it's kind of rated T for teen, guys. Dragon Goku, FUNimation Sean. I'm a really big fan of the pacing of this movie though, because that scene pretty much whizzes by and we cut to a montage of things being destroyed in the city right outside of the mall. Now this is where we get our first look at the 2 of our antagonists, Android 14 and 15. A bit of trivia here, Toei Animation actually switched the names of these 2. The taller android was supposed to be Android 15 and the shorter guy was going to be Android 14 respectively. Akira Toriyama labeled them with their original names on concept art, and the animation studio was like, hey, nah, I like the way these characters are revealed to you though, because it's sort of a bait and switch deal. Android 14 is being built up as this silent powerhouse with so much power, he like walks by things and they blow up. And Android 15 is this cool jazzy sort of guy who's kind of moving around, dripping swag, you know. Now, guys, real quick, I gotta say it, Android 15's design is hilarious because he's supposed to be black. Listen, if he wasn't purple, he would be brown, he would be black. Listen, I'm black, I understand this. You gotta understand. I won't take anything else for an answer. In the Funimation dub, they went ahead and gave him a sort of urban, ethnic sounding voice.
Yeah, that's the place.
He sounds ethnic. He sounds like he would, if he didn't have the voice that he has, he's like, hey man, I'm a pimp. He would be talking like, hey dog, listen dog. Like that is what I see when I look at Android 15, and it's hilarious. He's got like the defined lips, like how you would draw like a stereotypical character. And I think it's kind of weird how the designs for all three characters in this movie, the villains, are kind of like stereotypes. This character here is like a black character. Android 14 is he's like a Native American sort of vibe I'm getting, and Android 13, spoiler alert, looks a lot like a truck driver, redneck truck driver, which is very strange, but I guess if you wanted to appeal, I don't know if these kind of designs would fly in today's PC culture, but it's weird, guys. It's weird. I do like the designs though, as far as the henchman goes. And I think Android 14 is like this hulking brute with like very simple and restrained colors. Like he has like dark browns and his skin is gray, he has this green. It's very restrained. While Android 15 is like this pipsqueak with like a bunch of loud clashing colors that you wouldn't typically see in characters in the series, where in fact everyone kind of wears a sort of baseline, or they have a sort of motif that they stick with. And seeing this character pop up looking so weird and goofy and definitely, you know, alluding to something else is kind of funny. And these guys begin to get things started by blowing up so much of the surrounding area and tearing away to Goku that the Z Fighters have to react. It's kind of funny because the group was just taking time out to eat a meal or something, as the androids just casually stroll up, causing what I imagine is like millions of dollars in property damage. Because like, if these androids were let loose anywhere in the real world, it's like, bro, what in the hell? Run! These characters are like so oblivious as to what's going on because they can't sense the androids, and I'm pretty sure Goku kind of makes that clear a little bit later. And I appreciate that detail being something that they bring up, because without it, it'd be a situation where it's like, can't you tell there's these guys coming your way? Like, you guys sense people all the time, you know? So that little detail being added into the dialogue there was pretty nice. Lucky for us, this is kind of where the comic relief takes a break and we get right into the action. And it's like only 11 minutes into the movie and we get our first fight pretty much right away. And surprisingly, no one died when the androids do their tag team fusion attack, which was weird to me because it probably would have built up how much of a threat they were with a few casualties under their belt, but that's kind of a nitpick there. Goku orders Trunks and Krillin to take all the miraculously unscathed civilians like away from there, and he scans the areas, and like clockwork, attacks like pretty much fly his way. So immediately we're getting things started, only 11 minutes in, and I gotta say, it's kind of nice. So Goku does a sensible thing and tries to bring the fight away from the civilians, which is a smart idea. I can see him doing that. And this bastard Android 15 is so nonchalant when he pops up. He literally reaches into his trench coat and pulls out a flask of what I can assume is going to be Hennessy and drinking it straight. Guys, what what is going on with this character? We get some dope shots of things from the android's point of view, while Goku gives us all the exposition we need for what's going down. You don't really need it, but it does give you a lot of context as to what's going down. Red Ribbon, Dr. Gero, they want him dead. He can't sense them. Things gotta go down. Here we see just how deadly these guys are as a team, with Android 14 taking the lead and Android 15 kind of flanking Goku. And they actually overpower him pretty easily, letting you know how dangerous they are when they do work together. 17 and 18 are pretty much the same way, so you can kind of draw the comparison for what's going on like that. And Goku almost takes what I can imagine is going to be like a devastating hit before Trunks pops back up and swats it away and makes a point. The longer they stay in the city, the more damage is going to be done that they can't account for. This is a great technique for trying to get variety in the backdrop in movies like this, where you kind of want uninterrupted fight scenes. And I can imagine it's a lot easier on animators who just want to focus on the semantics of the fights themselves and not painting up a cityscape from like 33 different angles, making sure you have the same buildings in the same spots and all that, you know. So I understand why they wanted to move locations. It makes sense story-wise. And Goku and Trunks pretty much punch Android 14 in the face and run as we get a bit of funny and not so funny dialogue between Chi-Chi, Gohan, and Krillin, where the two NIFs, or non-factors, hello C's, how you doing, follow in close pursuit after Goku and Trunks. So it's pretty straightforward. Things are getting into motion. We're already moving from the cityscape. About like 15 minutes into the movie, we kind of got everything we need to have down as far as the setup for who we're going to be fighting, who we're dealing with, and why they're doing what they're doing. Since the movie has such a short runtime, the jumping back and forth from point to point is going to be very fast paced in here. It kind of keeps things rolling, and I do appreciate it so you're not hung up on comic relief for way too long, you know? In fact, almost as soon as Gohan and Krillin fly off, we do cut to Android 13 being activated, and we get a sick shot of his silhouette. And I gotta say, guys, the Dr. Gero voiceover in this movie is so bad it's good, but like he's just yelling his lines, and if it wasn't like if it wasn't 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd do it here. He's just like, wake up, my son! Wake up! Goku must die! Go, like, bro, relax, Pop. But guys, Android 13 looks like such a threat in the lighting that they have, you know? This is that 90s anime art here, so you can tell it's gonna look ashy, but I wouldn't mind a remastered version of like this movie here, man. It looks great. I love it, you know? After heading to the iceberg type landscape, the fight does pick back up and Goku and Trunks immediately start getting their asses beat. 14 and 15 are like getting fed knowledge from the Dr. Gero supercomputer thing that I can imagine is telling them all the weaknesses that they need to know, but it isn't long before Android 13, who kind of just popped up not even 2 minutes ago, is there on screen talking his shit. Now, this is a weird sort of moment for me because there wasn't really much of a build up to him appearing. I think suspense-wise, it would have been dope to have him kind of come in and save one of the androids when Goku and Trunks were getting the upper hand, or like pulling up and killing one of them himself like it was nothing, just to show the gap in power between like 13, 14, and 15. But hey, they had him pop up here. He even says it like, I don't know why you called out Chief and you can't even handle the Indians. Cause you know, and he kind of just appears and he gives Goku and Trunks a sort of like breather before giving us another mini exposition dump, you know? And then, guys, we get the cutting ass, okay? There's a mini roast. Trunks and Android 13 go back and forth cutting ass, and it's fire. It's a highlight. Easy. Android 13 is such an edgy character. He like pops up cursing and he has like this weird country accent that's not an accent, but it works because it's anime, if that makes sense. And of course, the fight kicks back off with like 14 and 15 rushing Trunks and 13 taking on Goku. So we're back at the fight again after like they cut ass and then get back to fight. Guys, you gotta understand.
Is that what you've done with your free will, boy? Don't you lecture me with your $30 haircut. Goku dies.
We'll see, you red ribbon redneck.
Now, these fight scenes are awesome because you can definitely feel a gap in their power. Trunks just looks absolutely useless getting thrown around by the droids, and Goku is getting manhandled by 13. Like, I'd say an important thing for introducing new characters is always going to be knowing exactly how you want them to come across. I'd say like if a new character is going to have like a glaring weakness or like a character flaw, you kind of want to introduce that or the possibility of that as soon as possible, because one of the most insulting things you can do is an ass pull to get rid of the villain you made too powerful by mistake. Spoiler alert, I'm not too much of a fan of the ending of this movie because of this reason, so you gotta understand if you're probably going to be like wondering where exactly the others are, namely Yamcha, Tien, Piccolo, and Vegeta. And it isn't long before Piccolo and Vegeta kind of do show up to kind of even things out against the droids. Vegeta is cursed in all the Dragon Ball movies from back in the day to like appear and get his ass beat no matter who it is, what movie it is. If he pops up, he's getting his ass beat. He's not getting a moment, guys. Don't ever cheer for Vegeta back in the day. Don't do it. It's painful being a Vegeta fan. I understand. You gotta understand. It's gonna happen here. I'm letting you know right now. Piccolo has this thing in the old movies where if Gohan gets hurt or he's about to get hurt, he just pops up to put in work and then gets bodied. Listen, Vegeta's appearance was so extra in this movie, it's hilarious. He just shows up. If anyone is going to kill Kakarot, it's going to be me. And you just kind of have to wonder if he just stalks these situations for when he feels Goku's getting punched in the nose. And it's like, Vegeta, we could have used you here 30 hours ago. What are you doing? Well, you need to understand. I'm just like, no, what the hell? Okay. Back on target. With Vegeta, Goku, and Trunks out fighting, it's finally a fair fighting case for Trunks, who was the one being jumped. Goku was just kind of dealing with 13 in the corner. And like, Trunks has to worry about 14, who's just been beating his ass. And Vegeta is dealing with 15 now. And it's like, Trunks, man, he gets me so mad in this movie because he's just struggling insanely for majority of all the fight scenes. Like, Trunks is not doing anything good. He's He's getting thrown around, he's getting punched in the face, he's getting headbutted. Vegeta pretty much sets off a second win for all the Saiyans by going Super Saiyan himself. And this is finally where we can see things starting to even out. Goku, Trunks, and Vegeta pretty much are all Super Saiyan at this point. And it isn't very long before 14 and 15 get overwhelmed. Like, Trunks is finally not being a scrub, and Vegeta is just ruthless with how quick he starts bodying 15. And even Gohan tries jumping in. Of course, he almost gets wrecked by 13. But like the trope says, Piccolo is not letting no one touch his son. So Piccolo is now in the fight because Gohan tried to jump in. You know, I really do kind of like the sort of homage Trunks and Vegeta do play to that iconic samurai trope where they kill off the androids. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's like when two characters dash into each other and they end up back to back, and one character kind of falls over, or like the blood splurt or whatever. It looks awesome. You guys know what it is if you've been watching TV or anime at any point. And of course they do it, and Vegeta goofs it up. He kind of trips and busts his ass. We don't get to enjoy it for long though, because apparently Android 13 can absorb scraps from the defeated androids and get like a wicked power boost. So guys, hold on, guys, it's going down. This is it. At this point, we have to keep in mind that Goku had just matched up evenly with 13 in his base form after turning into a Super Saiyan. And now 13 is able to take on 3 Super Saiyans and Piccolo with ease without breaking a sweat, or at least that's kind of the vibe that we get when 13 starts laughing like he just farted in a crowded elevator as he got out on his floor. You know the laugh that I'm talking about, where it's like, so boy, if you knew what just happened. You clog your nose. This transformation looks pretty cool, and it's different enough to make him stand out as the definite threat of the movie. Like before now, I didn't go over it because his design was kind of like, it's a tame design that it's sort of an edgy silver-haired character. He didn't exactly scream, "I'm an unkillable hazard." Like now he screams like this. He's like a hulking blue dude. So it's like, oh, okay, we kind of got to deal with this. And of course, Vegeta is the most non-buns character. He rushes him, you know, and he gets dealt with. Vegeta gets dealt with as per the usual. Trunks, he tries to stop. He tries to help out his dad, and he gets made to look useless again. He gets shot without even like batting an eye. And needless to say, Trunks is just garbage this entire movie, man. Like I want him to do well so bad, but god damn. It's hilarious how easy Android 13 is beating all the characters up, because the animations are so straightforward and to the point. Like Piccolo literally gets like ping-ponged away with that basic energy blast up close, and like Goku, guys, there's no way to put this. Goku gets punched in the nuts. Like, like a regular punch to the nuts hurts, but a Dragon Ball Z punch to the nuts, guys, like, God, like, I'm not exaggerating either. Like, 13 literally picks up his leg and punches him in the nuts. Like, the scene and this scene where Goku gets punched in the nuts and the ending are definitely the things that I like never forgot from this movie, because they were so crazy and memorable. Like seeing Goku get punched in the nuts is just like, he reverts. He gets hit so hard he goes back to base form. It's one of the saddest things in Dragon Ball I've ever seen. Like the noise he makes, it's greatness, man. Guys, if you have not seen this movie, please watch this part at least. The beating just goes on for a while. Goku's just getting beat up in the background. You hear him like screaming in pain, and everyone's kind of just like unconscious or just like accepting it, like, oh, we lost. And here's where I make that point of, if you're going to introduce a new character, be sure of what you want their limitations and strengths to be, because the second you have to ass pull to get them out of there, it's gonna feel cheap. Like he's effortlessly beaten all the other characters. It's understandable. There's gonna be tension being built. And Goku pulls out the handy dandy spirit bomb. Now you see, I like the spirit bomb as a technique. Like it's sort of that move that's always going to be in Goku's back pocket. It works as an excellent plot device, you know. In most cases, the spirit bomb is going to hit you and you'll be out for the count. It's pretty much to get the enemy out of there. But in the event that the spirit bomb hits you and you actually tank it, it builds up the character so much more. And I'll give you 2 examples, like iconic examples from the show actually, where like the spirit bomb hits you and it makes the character seem so much more beastly. So when Vegeta gets hit with the regular spirit bomb, and when Frieza gets hit with the super spirit bomb, those are like the iconic moments where it's like, holy crap, this character is insane. How is he still fighting? You know, in most cases, when you see that, it's like, oh, but here, seeing the victim survive was insane, because at that point, you felt how legitimate the character was as a threat. At that point, having to change up the rules of the move or trying to do like a different move altogether would be justified as a means of dealing with the character. You know, it makes that character seem like much more of a legit threat. Now, Android 13 knows all about the threat of the Spirit Bomb thanks to Jiro's supercomputer, and as the Z Fighters keep getting back up and trying to stall for Goku, 13 keeps on focusing on them and knocking them away. And this is definitely irritating because, like, we haven't seen 13 as the type to lose his cool and focus fire on someone else when there's an obvious threat so far. Not even 10 minutes before this scene when he was focusing on bodying Vegeta, he barely batted an eye at Trunks to get rid of him. Like, why the hell would he ignore the big ass spirit bomb being charged in the background to do a whole wrestling routine on Vegeta, Trunks, and then literally crip walk on Piccolo? Like, it's so irritating. Like, of course I wouldn't have an issue if it was just a regular spirit bomb being thrown at 13 though. It's like, okay, we had a little tension there. It's a spirit bomb. It's an excellent test of how strong the character is, but Goku goes Super Saiyan while charging up the spirit bomb. Okay, that's kind of a random thing, and Krillin has to let the audience know even as a Super Saiyan, Goku's heart is pure. Now, what irks me about this scene are the established rules of Spirit Bomb and Super Saiyan, because in general you have to be pure of heart to use, like, to charge and fire a Spirit Bomb, and that's why Goku's never done it like this in the series since or before this movie. You can go Super Saiyan after you throw the bomb and pump some ki to it, like how he did versus Kid Buu, but this is blasphemous. What I'm looking at in this scene right now is blasphemy. Super Saiyan pretty much stops you from charging a spirit bomb because it's a malicious state, it taints your heart and soul, you become battle hungry. Not exactly evil, but not pure enough to be in tune with all things in nature, you know? So it's kind of like, God, get your hand out your ass, Pop. What are you doing digging in there? This scene says, screw all of that, and Goku legit charges up a Super Saiyan Spirit Bomb. But that's not all, guys. It would be okay if he just stopped there, but no. We're going dig all the way in there. Make sure the knuckles is touching the prostate. You gotta understand. He begins to absorb the Spirit Bomb into himself. This is something we've never seen him able to do, never learn how to do, never allude to being able to do. Guys, you can take out your hand now. It's an ass pull. Like, if there had been any buildup at all to him doing this, I would not have this issue. Of course, it doesn't really bother me. It's just an anime movie. I could care less. At the end of the day, it came out like, what, 20 years ago? Like, okay. But as I'm watching him do this, as I'm watching Goku do this now, it just takes me out of the fight entirely. I feel like if Goku tried out the regular Spirit Bomb and 13 tanked it or something, he'd be justified in going for this thing with Vegeta and the others trying to stall. Like, it'd be okay, like, okay, now they have to do the movie thing. But it just feels like the way it was executed pretty much fumbles everything because they wrote themselves into a corner. This is pretty much the same issue I had at the ending of the Broly movie, if I'm not mistaken, where it's just like, of course you do that. It's like, hey, guys, he absorbed the Spirit Bomb. Goku became a Spirit Bomb. He got up to, he punched him in the chest. On the other hand, anime movies are notorious for, like, introducing movie exclusive versions of moves. Like, I remember back in the day when I used to be a big fan of Naruto, he had this one movie where he, like, did like a Rainbow Rasengan back in the day. And I'm pretty sure you can find all sorts of crazy examples from watching any random 5 anime movie specials, you know? Super Saiyan absorb Spirit Bomb into my body, one punch kill happens to be this movie's exclusive, and it's a doozy. God, that as all the androids are finally destroyed, Dr. Gero's computer shuts down. In the end, everyone is hanging out at a hospital and laughing at how close they were to dying, and it pretty much ends on a lighthearted note, as you would expect from Dragon Ball Z. And it's like, what did I just watch? Why did the ending, guys? The ending, I'm not a big fan of the ending of this movie, man. So, in closing, what are my thoughts on this movie here? What are my thoughts on Super Android 13? I'd say it's definitely a movie you should check out if you haven't watched it yet at all. Like, if you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and check it out. Quality-wise, it looks like a lot of anime from the 90s and has that sort of grainy, old-fashioned, ashy look. But if you can get past the ashiness, you'll see that the brilliant fight scenes are definitely in there. They look really cool. And you can definitely feel the impact of some of the attacks these guys throw out. And aside from Vegeta pretty much saying the same line every time it pops up, the banter between the characters is very entertaining. It's very nice. It's very to the point. It's pretty cool. You know, it's only 46 minutes, including the credits and the opening scene. So it's like, it's a pretty straightforward, easy watch. Like, if it dragged on longer than it did, it probably would be like, you know, a bit, but you know, it's just the ending you kind of have to, that's the only thing that I've seen an issue with, you know. The comic relief is decent, but I do think it gets in the way of the climax, like the climax fight sometimes. If that's the time they could have put into like building up towards the ending a bit more, I feel like they definitely could have took out some of those like comic relief scenes. Cause like Krillin getting shot by random blasts is like, okay, shut up. But yeah, guys, the ending is definitely the weakest point here. If you're looking at it in a critical light, you're definitely gonna be like, I'm not too sure about that. But if you're just down to catch up on some old adventures with Goku and the gang, watch it, keep an open mind. You'll be like, okay, this is cool, this is nice. I'd love to see it reanimated entirely, but that's definitely not gonna happen anytime soon. So, the new characters in this movie are all pretty awesome, and it'd be great to see them like referenced or pop up again as some sort of special where like a bunch of villains reappear again, or like, you know, they got a tag team and beat up Goku and the guys, and they're like, you know, more android stuff. I'm a big fan of the android archetype of villains in Dragon Ball, so that's just me. Do you remember this movie at all? Are you a fan of the characters introduced here? What was your biggest letdown in this movie? If you made it all the way through this video, hit me in the comment section below with another comment with an answer to one or all these questions with the hashtag SuperAndroid13, and we'll keep the discussion going. If you guys are a fan of these sorts of videos, serious/fun type of reviews, let me know for the one time. This could definitely become a long-running series here on the channel. I'll be seeing you all in the next video later on this week. Subscribe if you're new. You never know what I'm gonna upload next. And like I always say, guys, you gotta take care of yourselves. Yeet.
Where have you been? I'm searching all alone.